Hi there. Have you ever looked at a tiny apartment and thought, wait, this costs how much? You're not alone. In New York, a one-bedroom can cost over $3,000 a month. In Hong Kong, people pay thousands just to live in a room the size of a parking space. Even smaller cities like Austin or Berlin are seeing rent prices jump through the roof. So what's going on? Is it greedy landlords, foreign investors, not enough homes, or something else entirely? And more importantly, is there a way out? In this video, we'll break down why rent is so expensive everywhere, who's really behind it, and what, if anything, can actually be done about it. Let's dive in.
All right, let's start with the most basic rule in economics. When more people want something and there isn't enough of it, the price goes up. That's exactly what's happening with housing. Think about this. More and more people are moving to cities. In India, millions have left rural areas for jobs in Delhi or Bangalore. In Nigeria, Lagos is bursting with newcomers, even though the infrastructure can't keep up. Same thing in Vietnam. Ho Chi Minh City's population keeps rising, but the number of affordable homes, not so much. More people means more demand for housing. But are we building enough homes to keep up? Not really. In the United States, the last time housing construction kept pace with demand was before 2008. Since then, developers focused on luxury condos, not affordable units. In Germany, strict zoning laws and local protests delay every apartment project. One neighborhood in Berlin blocked new housing because it didn't match the aesthetic. Meanwhile, rents climbed 40% in 5 years. Here's a way to picture it. Imagine trying to fit 10 people into a room with only 5 chairs. Some people are going to pay more. Others will be left standing. And eventually, the people with the most money get the chairs, no matter how unfair that seems. That's the housing market in many countries today. More people, not enough homes, rising prices. But that's just the start, because even when homes are being built, there's another problem. They're not built for you. Let's talk about that next.
Section 2, built for investors, not for you. Here's the truth. Even when we are building homes, they're not really built for people to live in. They're built for investors to profit from. In Toronto, over 30% of condos are owned by people who don't live in them. They sit empty, waiting to be sold at a higher price. In Berlin, entire apartment buildings were bought by foreign investors, then flipped or turned into luxury units, pushing locals out. And then there's Airbnb. In Barcelona, so many homes were converted to short-term rentals that local families were priced out of their own neighborhoods. Protests followed, regulations tightened, but the damage was done. It's like going to a grocery store and finding all the bread bought up, not to eat it, but to resell it online at double the price. Housing became less of a human need and more of a financial game. Let's talk about how that affects your wallet in the next section.
Section 3. Wages didn't keep up. Here's where things get even worse. Rent went up, but your paycheck didn't. In the United States, from 2000 to 2023, the average rent rose by over 90%, but average wages only around 30%. So people are spending nearly half their income just on rent. In the UK, young workers in London now spend up to 60% of their income on housing. That's insane, and it's why so many live in flat chairs well into their 30s. In South Korea, despite high education and long work hours, many millennials can't move out. They call it the rent trap. Imagine this. You're running on a treadmill, but someone keeps increasing the speed. You're running harder, but staying in the same place. That's what rent versus wages feels like for millions around the world. And when your income can't keep up with your rent, you either downsize, move farther away, or go into debt. Let's explore what governments did or didn't do to help in the next section.
So what about the people in charge? Did government step in to fix a crisis? Sometimes, yes, but often their actions made things worse. Take Berlin, for example. They froze rents in 2020 to protect tenants. Sounds great, right? But landlords stopped renting out properties. Supply shrank. Demand didn't. Result? Prices shot up again when the freeze ended, did by government planning. Meanwhile, People live in coffin homes the size of a closet. Contrast that with Tokyo, where zoning is flexible. The city builds constantly. And guess what? Rent stays stable, even in one of the world's biggest cities. So yeah, policy matters. Sometimes it's like putting out a fire with gasoline. The problem only spreads. Next, let's talk about hidden costs no one tells you about. Section 5. Hidden costs that make rent so expensive. Even if we fixed supply, stopped investors, and raised wages, rent could still be expensive. Why? Because of all the hidden costs baked into housing. First, land prices. In Paris, even a tiny plot costs a fortune. Developers pass that cost straight to you, the renter. Then there's bureaucracy. In New York City, getting permits, passing inspections, and meeting zoning codes can take years. Time is money, and rent pays for the delay. In Seoul, strict safety and parking requirements mean developers must spend more to build even small units. That cost? Again, it ends up in your rent. And don't forget rising property taxes, maintenance, insurance, and construction materials. All of it adds up. It's like ordering a $10 meal, then getting charged $20 more for delivery, packaging, and convenience. So even when a home is finished, it's already too expensive before anyone's even moved in. But here's the big question. Will rent ever go back down? Let's talk about that next. Will rent ever go down? Short answer, yes, but only in very specific situations. In San Francisco, rent dropped in 2020, not because of policy, but because thousands left the city during COVID. But once people returned, prices bounced right back. In China, cities like Chongqing built too much housing. Now entire apartment blocks sit empty and rent has fallen. But that's not exactly a success story. It's a bubble waiting to burst. In Tokyo, flexible building rules and a steady construction pace have kept rent stable for over a decade. It's proof that smart policy can work if there's political will. But in most countries, without massive reform in housing supply, wages, and regulation, rent isn't going down anytime soon. Imagine trying to squeeze toothpaste back into the tube. It's possible, but it takes a lot of effort, patience, and probably a mess. So the question isn't just, will rent go down? It's, will we do what it takes to fix it? That is up to all of us. If this video helped you understand the rent crisis a little better, give it a like. And if you think more people should know what's really going on, share it. Got thoughts or a rent horror story? Drop it in the comments. And hey, don't forget to subscribe, because the more we understand, the better we can push for change. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.